Hey, Forex Fortune Hunters! Time for another short video. And this time I promised I would capture some information about Fibonacci's. And I like to start out by saying that if you were to use A, B, C, and D, that would be a poor man's Fibonacci, and it works actually quite well. The opportunity that we have by adding the Fibonacci drawing tool to our MetaTrader charts is to get a better sense of what precise, percentage pullback has occurred after our original swing. So let's get to work and see if we can make some sense of this. The first thing I'm going to do, this is our Forex Fortune Hunter template. I am going to make some modifications here. I think what I'm going to do is to remove a couple of the indicators that we don't need. These at the bottom of the chart, just so we'll have a little bit more room for our price bars. Okay. Now, the question that often comes up is, what is the best way to start? I don't know how to start with my Fibonacci's. Where do I put my A? Where do we put my B? And in fact, what I see on this particular chart, which is a 15-minute odd JPY chart right now, that we could use for openers, is that we've had a couple of things happen here on this chart. First of all, if you notice, here's a low that appears to me to be like a reverse head and shoulders. And we won't get into all of that now, but notice that we have a very clearly defined neckline here where we had our failure. We went down to the low. But here is like the left tip of the shoulder, and over here is a very interesting right tip of the shoulder. And by golly, they're almost at the same particular level, right? I mean, it's pretty interesting. And then the thing fired off and went to the upside. So that's one thing that I notice about this chart. I also notice that we've taken out a chandelier to the upside, and I'm beginning to look at it over here. Okay, now the situation is that I would put an A down in this area. All right, let's put that in place here and see what we've got. So our A would go from here down in this area to a B that would be someplace up here. That would be the way I'd start this whole business. All right, so we're just going to take a look at our swing and we're going to see what happens next. Now we have that, and guess what? It bisected, it took out a chandelier. And that's another way you can tell that there's been a change in trend and a significant swing. We have a low and we have a high, okay? We also have had a medallion switch, which means that the multiple moving averages have twisted to the upside. So that's about as clear an indication as we can get so far. Let's take our Fibonacci drawing tool, which are these dotted lines here. We drop down to the bottom where our A low was, and we left click and hold, and we drag our Fibonacci tool to the top of the swing, which is right here. And notice that high of the move occurred right at the beginning of our London session. Okay, and then it stalled, pulled back into the bands, came back and tested again. Now, we haven't done this before. We haven't put these lines on our own chart here. But notice that this pullback that occurred right here was exactly to the 50% line. Now, we came down a little bit lower, but the close and the open of these two candles were pretty specific. So now we'd be looking for the following. If we were going to go higher from here, we might get a bounce off of this. Notice we're coming into the end of the day. Here's a 5 o'clock hour East Coast time, so not much is probably going to happen. It's a lazy Monday summer afternoon. But if we were to look here, what's going on, the 127 to the upside, if this pullback holds, up we went, pull back to the 50, up and test. We don't seem to be able to get through it yet, so we're kind of wondering what's going to happen next. This particular swing could have been taken, if you'd looked at the 50%, you could have dropped down to a 5, for example, 5-minute chart and seen if there was a rollover or something there. But in any event, here we are at the end of the day, and we'd be looking either at the 127 as an extension if the thing fires off to the north, or perhaps even a 1.618. That's that way. Now, suppose things fail. We've talked a lot about cups and saucers. Well, quite frankly, if it were going to fail here, I would have expected it to roll and rotate downward. The fact that it came back and also touched this 0% line again is an indication maybe of some continuing upward buying momentum. But no matter, the only thing you have to look at here is the reverse of the Fibonacci tool, and that would be maybe to take us down to the 127 on a rollover to the downside. So I have my charts set up in such a way that we have 127 here, 1618 here, and also in the reverse. And what I look for are my takeouts of the chandelier once we're in motion with our swing to tell me what's going to happen next. In a separate video, I will tell you how to adjust the settings here on your fib charts and your fib tool. And in particular, what we would do is we'll go to the indicators list. We right-clicked on our screen, indicators list. That is NIT, sorry. Right-click objects list. And sure enough, down below the session times, we find that the Fibonacci is right here. We go in and edit it. And you can see here are the basic things that you have in place. 0, 38.2, 50, 61.8. Those are all within the lines between between the AB shift. And then we've added 1618 minus 0.618 and so forth. We'll get into that in more detail, but you can go in and add your parameters and FIBO levels here in this integrated chart. Okay, so we'll close that down now. Let's click again on this, and you see a little dot emerge. We're going to right-click and delete these fibs. Let's go back and find another example that's more to the downside. See if we get anything in this area that looks good to us. Here's a perfect example. Okay, we have a move from A to B. It bisected a chandelier line. We couldn't come back down. We moved. In fact, we did not roll over and come down to the extension of a downside move. In fact, we came back around, and look right here, a move which exactly to the pip, one dot right here to the 127. So we have this cup and saucer again. Up we go, and all this time we're looking for this level, and we're above our chandelier mark. Okay. Then we come up, take out the 1618, and notice sometimes you don't want to go short. You don't use the Fibonacci as an opportunity to go the other way. So that's it for this video. I hope it helps, and we'll be processing it and posting it online. See you next time.